In this segment of Cumberland Matters, we look at housing. There's a lot of excitement this spring along Old Wilmington Road as residents begin to move into newly constructed housing units in the community's Hope 6 project. Dawn Driggers, Executive Director of the Fayetteville Metropolitan Housing Authority, updates us on the project's progress. April is Fair Housing Month, so we take a moment for Bobby Thomas of the county's Community Development Department to explain where you can turn if you think you have been discriminated against while trying to buy or rent a home.
We basically were awarded the Hope 6 grant in March of 2008. We have 54 months to expend all the funds or they will be recaptured. Our deadline for completing everything, or at least the Hope 6 funds being spent, is September of 2013. So we're about halfway, roughly, from now. The original plan calls for 747 dwelling units to be built. Of that, about 105 were going to be single-family homes, and there's some on down Old Wilmington Road that those are going up now with Habitat and Kingdom Community Development, and 647 apartments. Everything besides 72 apartments is right here in the neighborhood, just one connects to the other in these phases, and the 72 off-site units are in Bunts, near 71st High School in that area. As far as right now, we got 400, I believe, in 4 units underway in 2010. The actual original grant we got was $20 million. And, you know, with that was the actual starting point. I will say with the economic issues that we faced originally, we just had a difficult time getting everything started, investors and so forth. So we're really lucky in that we were able to get a $6.5 million grant that was basically designed for gap financing for stalled development projects, so it was just written for us. We got that and then everything started. Construction's been going wide open in 2010, and again, we've got right now 36 unit site, elderly site completed. We have, this behind us is Curtis Lane. There's 186 units here, and they're about a third of the way finished. There are some more, anyhow, they're in different phases, but Bunts is finished basically. This is partially finished, so, you know, we're starting to move folks in. About probably 3 weeks ago, we moved in 8 of our senior citizens. They're actually the returning Hope 6 residents. Anyone that was relocated from Campbell Terrace or Lawn Gardens, which were the sites of the Hope 6 grant, were actually given an opportunity to return if they desired to. So everybody had to move out for the demolition, and then as these are coming back online, if they desire to come back, they have that option. So we've moved in 8 so far, and not sure how many, but maybe, it looks like maybe 50 to 60 maybe want them to come back. The rest are happy where they are now. So basically right now we have still got 3 phases to initiate construction on and do some, you know, applications, things to housing finance. We have 2 other senior sites, one on Campbell Avenue, a block or so away, another in the old Lawn and Garden site, and we have a second phase behind the back part of the old Campbell Terrace property to go. Everybody, I will say, as far as the ones that I communicate with, they're primarily my residents, and they are really, really, really happy. The ones that have moved in over at the senior site, I will say the quality of housing is better than I ever expected. It is just fantastic. The amenities are great, and you know, they have opportunities to have things that we just can't provide in public housing. Well, once we deal with anyone that wants to return, and we get past those, really everybody has to get on a waiting list. So you have to make application through United Management, then you go on a waiting list, and it's date and time. Now, for those that have employment income, certainly they get a little preference. So if you're working someone else, it's not, you will get a unit first. But other than that, date and time. They can contact United Management off of Rayford Road. Now, they are working on a website. I don't believe it's up yet, but it's coming. We have a link on our website to a Hope 6 project, and it gives progress reports, financing, anything you can think of. We have a meeting every 2 weeks and update everything, and all that's posted on the website. Another part, I guess, of the neighborhood that's changed is the community gardens. I will say, I talked to Candace Williams about the time we came up with the Hope 6 idea, so she and I kind of worked together on some things and meetings and so forth. And as it turns out, the community gardens are in a location that had since become a part of a flood zone and in a 100-year floodplain. So no housing could be constructed on that. So it really wasn't of any use to us as far as building units. So it worked out great for the community gardens. It's about a block away, right in the center of the neighborhood, and it's gone just fantastic also. For anyone that hasn't seen the transition from, a couple of years ago when we started all this, definitely is worth a trip over to Old Wilmington Road and just look at the housing going up. It's just amazing. The housing, there's up for 1 to 3 story units over here, and they're getting completed, and it's just fantastic.
Fair housing is a term that really dates back to around 1866, when legislation on the federal level was passed to provide some safeguards for individuals that were buying, selling, renting, negotiating real estate transactions. It was modified in the 60s due to civil rights, and what it really provides a group of what we call a protected class. These individuals that, based on their race, their color, their sex, their national origin, religion, and family or familial status, really says that these individuals can't be treated unfairly in terms of housing activities, purchase, rent, or negotiating any type of real estate agreements or contracts. Primarily, it's like most things. If you're just not knowledgeable or you don't have information, you may not even know that you've been discriminated against. We know to give you some examples, historically there were policies that lending institutions or realtors engaged in what we call steering. This is just an example where individuals were, based on those classes, perhaps were steered to a neighborhood or a certain part of town. These new fair housing laws that we have, I say new because they're always being modified. Familiar status was added more recently in recent years, but it means that these individuals will be treated equitably and fairly in terms of their search for housing and rental housing and purchasing housing. So the point in having knowledge is that you may not know that these activities are even occurring to you as an individual if you don't have the knowledge about what fair housing is. Oftentimes we find that people just don't know that they've been a victim of some fair housing violation. It's just by them speaking to someone who has knowledge of it, and they say, hey, that doesn't sound right. They can't do that based on fair housing. So it's just to be in the know, to have the knowledge. In Cumberland County, an individual would call the Fair Housing Office, and I'm going to provide a couple of numbers. One of the numbers that you can call if you think you've been treated unfairly in a purchase or rental or acquisition of housing is 910-323-6112. And I'm going to provide you a second number. It's 910-433-1698. So either of those numbers can be dialed, and you can have a discussion with a fair housing specialist that can kind of get some information and see if there's been any issues that might have been a violation of the fair housing laws.